Good morning, everyone. Wow, this is different, but I'm still excited because we still get to meet together in God's house with God's Word like we would every Thursday for chapel. And so officially welcome students of St. Peter and our guest family, whoever can join us today online. We are going to continue on and really start off this next quarter, this last quarter of our school year, the way we always do with God's Word and in chapel. So we're going to follow this order of service, and I'd encourage all our families, kids at home, please read along. I'm going to read with you all the parts marked group, but we'll carry on like we always do. And so we begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Why don't we go ahead and sing a song? I'm excited about singing God's praises. God is always with us, no matter what's going on, no matter what kind of changes to life may come. We're going to sing, "Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing." Would you join with me? And again, sing it out. Sing it loud as you can at home. And let's praise our God. We continue on. Would you join with me reading responsively the parts marked group? God our Father, each day is a gift of your grace. Your mercies are new every morning. Guide our steps by the light of your word. Shield us from harm and keep us from evil. Better than life is your love. Put joy in our hearts, praise on our lips. Alleluia. Let's pray. Jesus, you invite us to pray and promise that when 2 or 3 come together in your name, there you are with us. Answer our prayers and fulfill our desires according to your wisdom and love. Strengthen us in your truth and grant us life everlasting. Let's continue then focusing on for our selection today, Matthew chapter 4, 23 through 25, in this theme of how we're more than conquerors, even in the face of a pandemic, even in the face of the coronavirus, COVID-19, we are more than conquerors. Why? Because we have Jesus who covers us in grace. We have Jesus who, he really addresses all sin and all its consequences, and he will one day when he comes again. Here's a picture of how he addressed it in his day when he was with us visibly among us. Matthew 4, 23 through 25. We'll talk a little bit about this truth more for our message. We read, Jesus went throughout Galilee, teaching in their synagogues. And that's the churches back then were called synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness among the people. News about him spread all over Syria, that was up north, and people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering severe pain, the demon-possessed, those having seizures and the paralyzed, and he healed them. Large crowds from all around, from that region, across the Jordan, they followed him. As we begin our meditation, COVID-19, as you see it there, an acronym really, we're changing it up. Saw this online, I thought this was pretty cool, and I wanted to share this truth with you and how amazing Christ is in all things, even in the things of this life when it comes to viruses and things that maybe are scaring our parents, scaring us from time to time, scaring people in our culture, in our country, in the world. Check this out. COVID-19, I want you to think of it this way. COVID can stand for how Christ is over viruses and infectious diseases and really is our cure and our remedy no matter what happens. Where's this assurance from? Well, how about Joshua 1:9? That's the 19 part. The Lord God said to Joshua as he was concerned about what was coming. Now, he was looking at having to go to war in the promised land, at least the land that was promised by God to his people and all. And God wanted to let him know you didn't have to worry. He said, Joshua, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Right? Be more than a conqueror, in other words, in keeping with our theme. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That leads us here now to our day. I wanted to ask you this question. What's a virus? Especially for maybe our younger ones. And I actually had to look this up too. I mean, I've always heard about viruses. In fact, when I was in kindergarten, that's when I first learned about viruses and germs. And I got really afraid. My parents, I had asked, what's a germ? What's a virus? And what if I touch this and I put it in my mouth? And am I going to die? And my parents, because I was always asking that question, what's a virus? What are germs? And am I going to die if it gets into my body? My parents were so fed up that they lovingly said, yeah, you know what, Bill? If you have a germ or virus, you're going to die. So that's just how it is. So I stopped asking that question because I didn't like the answer that they were given. Of course, they did it kiddingly, and I really had to get past that part. But what is a virus? You guys know? You think about that? What is a virus? I got a picture of it right there. Of one, this is the coronavirus. At least one of the coronaviruses that are out there. Are many of them. A virus is just a little particle, if you will, or material that it's not living, but it's not exactly not living, and it's really just a thing that is so small. By the way, it's like smaller than a human cell. It passes along biological information. So when it comes in contact with a cell, it gives it new information, and the cell starts acting differently. Right? That's what it does. So here's a picture of a virus attaching to a human cell, and it injects DNA in there. And again, a cell is kind of this complicated factory, if you think, where it's producing things and it's helping the human body stay as God designed it. Well, now when a virus attaches to a human cell, it changes it, and it causes the cell to start just reproducing more viruses, and it can attack different parts of the body. So viruses kind of, if you think about it in terms of providing information, they give, well, in a lot of ways, bad information to human cells. And human cells start functioning that way, and it causes a bunch of problems in the human body. So here's the big question. Where did viruses come from? Well, if God made viruses in the beginning, then why are they bad? Maybe we've had the same question about mosquitoes. Why would God create mosquitoes? Well, you know, before the fall, mosquitoes would have been good. And I'm guessing they wouldn't bite people. They probably would just eat fruit. Well, same thing with viruses. In the beginning, God created everything that we see in this created world, especially, everything that has design, which viruses do. So God would have made them good. Well, that's interesting, though, because all we hear about with viruses is that they're bad. Well, did you know that there are a lot of viruses out there? In fact, most viruses, and they come with different names, many good viruses that we understand we call phages, at least that's a type of virus. good things. They do a lot of good things. And I got a few examples that I'm just going to kind of mention just to show that not every virus is bad. Think about the ocean. Think about in the ocean, there's a lot of bacteria that can grow in the ocean. Did you know that there are certain viruses that actually help take and break down that bacteria to create more carbon and nitrogen, which a lot of living things need? So that's just one example where viruses are pretty cool. And they seem to be functioning still according to God's design there. Or did you know in your own gut, right? So in your digestive tract, which takes all that food in and kind of breaks it down, there are actual viruses that are in there, again, phages, that help protect the good bacteria by breaking down the bad bacteria in there and flushing the body of all of that. So there are viruses in your body that are helping the good bacteria by addressing the bad bacteria and breaking it down. Even some beverages, some fermented beverages. How many of you have ever had kombucha? It almost tastes like pop, but it's kind of good for you. The fermentation process, there are viruses that can help purify, if you will, the fermentation process of that, or with yeast and bread. So if you like carbs, you like bread, you like soft drinks that have a nice little taste to them, some fermentation, kombucha, those are all great things. That's because of God's design of viruses. So that brings us to this idea that viruses seem to be, in the creation of the world, God's maintenance system for living things. For our own human body, it seems maybe God created viruses to continue to give good information or updates to our cells to keep them immortal. And every system that we see with living things, whether in the ocean, marine life, or whatever, perhaps viruses were originally created as part of God's plan to see life just continue on forever. So, boy, that fall into sin was a big issue, wasn't it? When we fell into sin, that's when everything went a mess, and viruses included became corrupt. And so we started seeing viruses begin to give bad information, to begin to corrupt the human body, human cells, giving us common colds and causing cancer, and now we have the coronavirus as well, which means we really still need a cure, right? Did you ever think of that? That we still need a cure for all that's wrong in the world, and Jesus is still that cure? I'm going to get to that in a second here. But to help kind of explain and illustrate even better what a virus is, well, I'm thinking about computers. So how many of you like screens? Right now I'm betting you're playing a lot of games on your screens. You're going to have to be using your Chromebooks and going online to get your homework done and what have you. Well, we talk about computers, right? You got to always have them up to date. The antivirus protection right on your computer, that's named after viruses like the coronavirus. It's interesting, on a computer, you have software that runs it, information that's been designed to keep things functioning. Well, you get times where there are people that aren't so good. They create different code, different information, which corrupts a computer and causes it to not function as it was designed, at least the software. Right? So that's a virus. That's just information embedded in a computer software program which begins to corrupt it, and it doesn't function as it should. Conversely, there is good information. Good information that is also given by usually the designer of the software that comes along. Now, that's kind of like a virus, isn't it? It's new information which is given to update and to make that software prove better and to function in a better way. So, if you are wondering about a virus and what infects our bodies, think about your body as being a computer. And it's just giving information that we don't need in ourselves. While there's a lot of viruses, perhaps in our digestive tract and elsewhere, that are giving us and helping destroy bacteria and other things that would be harmful for our body. I wanted to give you a couple examples of in our world where there are been hackers, and they've planted viruses in computer software systems and online to really corrupt information and to change things up for good and for bad. Starting with the bad, I mean, and this happens more regularly. I don't even know if you need an example, but this kind of cracked me up. There was a guy he was a hacker. He had been caught, and he wanted to try to improve himself in his hacking capabilities. So he created this virus to infiltrate computers, and it would change all the files into pictures of squid. Silly, right? He didn't destroy any files, just all the files became pictures, little JPEGs of squids. And he was able to give more information so that that virus could be reversed. And when he was caught, they asked him, well, why'd you do that? Basically, it was harmless, but you can't do that. That's illegal. And he just said, well, I just wanted to see if I had improved my hacking skills. Here's a cool story. Back in 2010, talking about viruses, this was the time when Al-Qaeda was still up and running and Osama bin Laden, a huge terrorist threat for the world. Well, online, Al-Qaeda was trying to pass along plans to create bombs to all the different terrorists around the region in the Middle East. And the British intelligence agency had come up with a plan. They actually found out about the operation from Al-Qaeda in passing along these plans to make bombs. So they decided to set in a virus in their network where, swapping out the plans for bombs, they would swap in recipes for cupcakes. So as the terrorists were opening up their files in the hopes of creating bombs to blow good people up, they would find how to make cupcakes. Brilliant. That's where hacking can be a positive and actually can save life by giving better information than what was already passed on. Okay, let's talk about Jesus now, in terms that we can greatly appreciate and understand. You ever think about the devil as like the worst hacker or the worst agent carrier of the most horrific of viruses, being sin, and how sin ultimately brings the screen of death? And that's what we're up against as a human race. I mean, everybody seems to be nervous about the coronavirus, but the greatest virus of all, which caused that virus and all the other bad viruses, it's sin. It always goes back to sin, doesn't it? And we have nothing to worry about, do we? Because we know the remedy. We know the cure. We know the cure. I want you to think about Christ. Christ as, and His grace as the greatest software designer, hacker, if you will, but for the good, providing the perfect upgrade, which is grace. Jesus infiltrates really our DNA, our cells, our life. And even though we might face death or pain or get sick, we know that in the end, He changes the code. In the end, Jesus gives us what our bodies need and our souls need. Right? And in that, we're more than conquerors. Leads me back to COVID-19. Christ truly is over viruses and infectious diseases. It's not just a cute statement. It's true. It's reality. And what God promised to Joshua as he was facing war in a land promised to him and his family, a real physical war, as we are in battle too, and in war against this unseen virus, we have God's beautiful promise in Christ. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Wherever you go. Even if it means you have to stay at home and isolate yourself for a little while. Jesus is with you. And you have the cure. You have all that you need. Praise God. He's more than a conqueror. And we with him. Let's pray. Even as we face this novel coronavirus, Lord, it's not new to you. You came into this world to conquer sin and all its consequences, which includes this. So be with us. Help us to always be at peace. Help us to know that you provide all the best information we need. That's your grace, that's your gospel message, and that we're safe. We're always safe, at home and away with you. Lord, bless our students. Bless this new way of doing school. And Lord, continue to be glorified through the blessing, the encouragement of your people, especially of your young people. Help us to always be unafraid. Remind us that we're always more than conquerors in you. And then, Lord, help us to apply ourselves to all that our teachers ask and all that we have to do. All these things we pray, Lord, we pray in Jesus' precious name. Amen. We're going to sing the fourth quarter theme song, and I hope that you're looking forward to the song. It's a beautiful song. It talks about the hope that we have. And here's my challenge to you. I know that you might be few in number at home, maybe even only one. As you watch this, sing it out. Learn the song. Come back to it again and again. And this is what I'd like to do. The next time we can get back together as a school, I want to sing this song. I want to sing it in victory. Because, friends, we are more than conquerors in Jesus. Amen. Let's sing.
I'm more than what you see. When you look at my life and evaluate me, I'm even more than I believe. When I feel so lost and act so weak, yeah. But who I am is found in Him, who died for me and lives again. He is the one who's not afraid to love with nails and cross and pain. My guilt and fear He overcame when He carried my sin and buried my shame. When He rolled that stone away, I rose with Him on Easter Day. So I'm more than a conqueror. So I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than a conqueror. Whoa, whoa. In Him I'm more than I could ever be. Whoa, whoa. In Him I'm all I ever want to be. Whoa, whoa. I am His. Whoa, I am His. Jesus sets me free to see that I'm God's masterpiece, made to serve with love for Him, free from fear, forgiven of sin. Step by step He leads the way, as I follow the voice who knows my name. I'm more than a conqueror, 'cause I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than a conqueror. More than my doubts, more than my fears, more than my troubles, more than my tears, more than my weakness, more than my sin. Not life nor death, height nor depth, nor anything can separate this child of God from Him. Separate this child of God from Him. Whoa, 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 whoa. Though one day death will bury me, one day I'll stand in victory. My own eyes will open and see the home that now my faith perceives. I'll never be hurt wipes every tear from my eye.